Hello everyone, Armin Mušović here, FIDE master from Montenegro. Today I have a very exciting video about one chess game, and the reason for that is that my opponent was Magnus Carlsen. This game was played a few weeks ago. It was beginning of September, and it was a bullet game. It was 1+0 on time control, and I played this game against Magnus on Bullet Brawl. This is titled Tournament. Every Saturday for titled players you can play this tournament on chess.com. I was waiting long for this game to happen. To be honest, I was playing before Magnus all of these players like Nakamura, I played Alireza, even Gukesh, but somehow Magnus never appeared in my opponent's list on Title Tuesday or Bullet Brawl. And finally this happened a few weeks ago, so let me show you the game. I was white. I was very excited that I'm going to play against Magnus, and I played my favorite move, a3. Okay, now this maybe looks like terrible move for white. However, I actually like to play this opening even in slow games. The reason for this move is that you can play reversed openings, so everything is kind of normal for white. I'm giving example, if black plays something like e5, you can just play d4. If you like to play, for example, Scandinavian defense, you can do it in reverse, meaning where a3 pawn is actually useful. Magnus played g6. Knight c3 development, we have bishop g7, e4, and now we have c5. So we have some kind of Sicilian closed, where a3 move is actually not bad. It's also opening the square a2 for the bishop. So let's try to see what happened. Bishop c4, we have knight c6, d3 development, e6, and now we have bishop f4. And this is well-known trap if black plays knight from g to e7, and this is exactly what happened in the game. So the reason that this move is actually bad is that after knight b5 there are two weaknesses here for black, c7 and d6, and black cannot easily solve this now. So well, actually there is the move, and the only move here is knight e5, which Magnus didn't play. I will quickly explain why this move, because this move simply blocks the bishop. Knight cannot really do much now, except that knight can still jump on d6. And after this move, computer likes knight f3 the most, but after knight from e to c6, game is again better for white, but not like too much. It's 0.6 or 0.7. White definitely has advantage, but not like it happened in the game. So let's go back. First of all, let me show you what should black do here instead of knight from g to e7. Black simply should play d6, and now knight b5 is nothing because after e5 black can easily defend. However, after this move and knight b5, Magnus also played e5, which is a terrible move here for black, simply because it allows check and it allows knight takes on f7. Black doesn't have time to take the bishop. But still, I want to show you something else here. For example, if black tried something like castles, of course, white will not jump with knight on c7. White plays actually bishop c7, and this is the problem for black because his queen is trapped now. Also, something else like check is not helping black too much, because after c3 and now castles, we actually have bishop c7, and after b6, there is move b4. Black can of course try to play something like takes on c3, however there is no compensation here. White will definitely be better, much better. So let's go back. After this move and after e5 we have check, we have knight takes on f7, we have queen b6, and now the point is actually to save this bishop on f4. You don't really want to take the rook immediately on h8, because if you do that, black will take on f4, you jump knight f7, but then later there is queen b2, a little bit unpleasant on dark squares, and actually black has some kind of counter game. Bishop d2, and it's more important here to keep this diagonal. It's already +1 for white in terms of material. So we have d5, and it looks like that maybe now white cannot really do much. However, I just took on d5 because I know this line very well. This is easy to take. If black plays something like this, you can just simply take the knight, but even d6 is not that much bad for white to play. So actually Magnus jumped with his knight on d4. I'm finally taking the rook. And now we have queen b2. My pawn is hanging on c2, so I actually tried to stop the threat with rook c1 move. However, it was just actually better, much better to play rook a2. Now queen has to go back, and after knight f7, again, black cannot do much. If he takes the knight, there is just d6 move and white is completely winning. So let's go back, rook c1, and now we have b5. And I was thinking here what to do. Should I just move my bishop? But because this was bullet game, of course, I was not thinking too much. I just saw the move c3. And sometimes in chess, it's just much better to attack like this. Your opponent is attacking you. It's just okay to create some counter game immediately. So we have takes. I have to take the knight. Magnus took on d3. And now I took on c5. I could, of course, develop my knight, and that was much better. Even if something like this happens, you can just castle immediately if you really want, but also d6 is just very powerful move. You're trying to lure this knight to go on that diagonal. You can castle now, and if he actually takes the knight on f3, just queen f3 wins immediately. If something like this happens, white should not be worried about massive pawn structure, because there are two good motives for white. White can jump on g5 with knight, attacking on e4, but also taking with the rook immediately on c8, and later jumping is something that the computer actually likes. So knight f3 was just a little bit faster developing move. I took on c5, and now Magnus is trying to stop that with e4. Now knight h3. Of course, white has to develop here. So Magnus takes, I took, we have takes on d5, and finally I castled. I don't even want to take on g6 with my knight. Here tempo move is actually more important than one pawn. We have king g8, and now c6. And of course, when you have passed pawn like this, passed pawn can be very, very important in attacking possibilities. I'm just pushing the pawn. We have rook c8, and now we have this move, which is not mistake in terms of that white will lose the game or something like that, but actually there was much better move for white. I guess if I just played that move, I would win this game. So actually the move is queen g4, and this is very logical, but one more time, this was just bullet game. Everyone is creating mistakes. So here we have queen g4. Why this move wins? Because rook is hanging, e4 pawn is hanging, queen e6 is a threat, and if black plays something like rook e8, there is just c7 immediately. You're threatening to promote new queen. If knight a7, just queen e6 check. And what can black do if he wants to save his knight? King f8, just queen f7 is a checkmate. So actually there wouldn't be something good there for black, but after queen a4, also Magnus creates mistake. Now he played queen e5. He should actually take the bishop on d2, and if I take the pawn, there is very interesting line queen g5, where actually I cannot cover the check with my queen, because after trade and after knight c3, black is completely winning, because what can white do? Knight is hanging, the pawn is hanging on c6, and d2 is real threat. So in that case, after king h1 and knight f4, this is some kind of balance. It's just like, you know, black is also threatening some things, and I have to be careful about checkmate on g2. So let's go back. Magnus didn't play that. He goes queen e5, and now we have queen c4. And one of the ideas was, when I played queen a4, one of the ideas was just to pin this knight like this. And of course, there are good things with that. However, let's try to see how Magnus created some good plan here to try counter game. We have queen f5. So the point is, of course, my pawn on h3 can be taken in some moments, but also f-file is under attack. So very interesting play by Magnus is just to conquer f-file and to put the bishop on d4. And this is something actually I expected, and we will see very soon why I didn't win this game, because I just didn't play the last move, which was okay for me, totally winning, and I saw it, but I didn't play it. Queen a6. It was much better to play rook e1, because after something like this, you can easily take on e4, and after this check, you can move your king. You're not really afraid to lose your bishop, because after this check and after c7, black simply doesn't have time to play rook f2. So Rook from f to e1 was somehow a little bit better. It's just developing move and you're not actually creating any mistakes there. But queen a6, I'm deflecting my own pieces from attacking possibilities. We have king takes like this, and now rook c5. Of course, the idea is just to take the knight on d5 and to try to deflect black's queen. But now we have that move, rook f8. I played c7, I'm very close to promote another queen in the game, and now we have bishop d4. And this is the critical moment of the game, if we can call it like that, if we can say like that. I just had 24 seconds here, and to be honest, this game was very emotional for me. As I said at the beginning of this video, I was waiting too much for this game to happen. And I saw idea that white can still try somehow to survive the checkmate, because obviously black is threatening bishop takes on f2. And in the game I played rook b5, and that immediately loses, because after bishop f2 it's simply mate in few moves. I cannot do anything. If I move my king, queen f3 is checkmate, and if I take the bishop, queen f2 and queen f1 is also just a checkmate. So what was the winning move for white here? White still wins, and the idea is that because this bishop tried to conquer this diagonal on my king, I can actually do the same thing by sacrificing my bishop. That is just for one moment where black doesn't have good moves here. Let's try to see what can black try now. If, for example, he takes with the knight, he loses the queen. There is absolutely nothing with one check. There is no compensation for something like that to lose the queen, because I'm still threatening c8. So knight cannot move, and if queen takes now, of course I can easily take the queen, simply because his bishop cannot take back. That's the point. And of course, if bishop takes, queen promotes here on c8, new queen in the game, and actually black cannot do much. We can also try to see if, for example, black tries something like check, like this. It actually doesn't help. So this is how I finished my game. I played rook b5. I could still win with bishop c3. This was very interesting game. And yeah, what can I say, guys? This is my first experience against Magnus. I was waiting too long for this game to happen. It happened. I had winning position, but one more time. This probably happened only once, because I guess Magnus will never enter into similar trap again. And one more time, a3 is not that much bad for white to play. At the beginning, I also won Nakamura on this opening and some other very strong grandmasters on online games. So I hope, guys, that you can learn something from this game. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.